Hare Krishna, my friends. Welcome to Bhaktiville. Tonight, we conclude our reading of the Nectar of Devotion. I hope that you've enjoyed and appreciated this book on the details of Bhakti Yoga. Srila Rupa Goswami, along with the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti and Srila Sanatana Goswami, have given us such comprehensive nectar. This is a book that you can read over and over again, and the more you read it, the more your understanding and divine feelings for Lord Krishna will be developed. Tonight we're on page 396 of the book, or page 435 of the PDF. We may go a little bit past our regular time because we just got to crunch all these pages in there. All right, let me first offer my obeisances. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at His lotus feet. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. So with me tonight are Bhakti Mimulus and Kandita Prabhu, and Bhakti Greece is on his way. I can see that he's just gotten online, so he is on his way. And hello to all of you who are listening to us either live or recorded. Thank you for coming. So this is the last chapter, or second to the last chapter. It's the analysis of mixed rasas. And we started it last week, but I'm just going to start it off, jump right in where we left off on page 396, the second paragraph. One devotee said, "My dear Krishna, how can I address you as my son when you are addressed by the great Vedantas as the absolute truth and by the Vaishnavas who follow the principles of Narada Pancharatra as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You are the same Supreme Person, so how shall my tongue be so extraordinarily bold as to address you as an ordinary son?" End quote. In this statement, there is a mixture of neutrality and parental love, and the result is incompatible. So that's what we're looking at here, these mixed rasas and whether they're compatible or incompatible. And the idea that things are incompatible is called rasabas. And I have something up on the board, up on the slideshow, about rasabas. And there are three classifications of rasabas: the uparasa, or false expression; anurasa, imitation; or aparasa, or perverted or misrepresented mellows, or rasa. So we'll get into that a little bit more in the last chapter. Bhakti Mimula says he doesn't see that on the board. Oh, sorry. It's the one just before that. There it is. Sorry about that. All right. So we'll get to those in the next chapter. A lusty woman in Kailas once told Krishna, "My dear Krishna, may you have a long life." Then, after saying this, she embraced Krishna. This is an example of incompatibility resulting from a mixture of parental love and conjugal love. So, "may you have a long life" is a typical thing that a parent would say for their children. And so that's why it's not so kosher. The purpose of the above analysis... Oh, hey, Haribo, Greece. Good to see you. The purpose of the above analysis is to show that in the mixture of various mellows, or reciprocations of ecstatic love between Krishna and the devotees, If the result is not pure, there will be incompatibility. According to the opinion of stalwart devotees like Rupa Goswami, as soon as there are contradictory feelings, the result is incompatible. Once an ordinary female devotee addressed Krishna, quote, "My dear boy, I know that my body is just a composition of flesh and blood and can never be enjoyable to you, but still, I've been so attracted by your beauty that I wish that you could accept me as your conjugal lover." End quote. In this statement, there is incompatibility caused by a mixture of ghastliness and conjugal love in devotional service. So that discussion of flesh and blood is part of the rasa of ghastliness. Srila Rupa Goswami warns devotees to not commit such incompatibilities in their writings or in their dealings. The presence of such contradictory feelings is called rasabhas. When there is rasabhas in any book of Krishna consciousness, no learned scholar or devotee will accept it. In Vidagdha Madhava, 2nd Act, verse 29, Purnamasi tells Nandamukhi, quote, "Just see how wonderful it is. Great sages meditate upon Krishna after being relieved from all material transactions, and with great difficulty they try to situate Krishna in their hearts. And opposed to this young girl is trying to withdraw her mind from Krishna so she can apply it in the material activities of sense gratification. What a regrettable thing it is that this girl is trying to drive away from her heart the same Krishna who is sought after by great sages through severe austerities and perseverance." Oh, I had something I wanted to read. Hang on, I moved the book. Okay, so in the translation that I have of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Jiva Goswami comments on this episode. The first half of this verse presents the determination of the sage and the young girl. The second half of the verse presents the determination of a yogi and the young girl. The superiority of the young girl is clear because the young girl is always thinking of Krishna. What girl is this? This girl is Radha. So let me continue to read Jiva Goswami's commentary. In the previous verse, Purnamasi, who is the assistant in the confidential affairs of Radha and Madhava, and also a tapaswini, previously performing great austerities, appreciates both rasas. Shanta rasa is expressed in accordance with the description of the sage. Madhura rasa is expressed in accordance with the description of Radha, the young girl. Though the sage and yogi attempt to engage their minds in Krishna by the power of yoga, there is no effect. Radha, out of fear of transgressing dharma, by trying to prevent her mind from thinking of Krishna, only thinks of him more. Thus, the position of sage and yogi is lowered, and Radha's position is clearly elevated. So, just a little aside to that. Let me see what Radha's Krishna's girlfriend after all. There you go. So, Srila Jiva Goswami comments in this connection that such loving state of mind is not possible for all. It is only possible in the case of the gopis of Vrindavan. There are many other instances of contradictory mellows where there is no perverted experience of rasabhas. Once, some minor demigod of the heavenly planets remarked, quote, "Krishna, whose joking words were once the source of so much laughter for the residents of Braj, has now been attacked by the serpent king Kaliya, and he has become the object of everyone's overwhelming lamentation." End quote. In this instance, there is a mixture of laughter and compassion, but there is no incompatibility, because by both of these rasas, the loving affection for Krishna is increased. Srimati Radharani was once told that although she had stopped all activities, she was still the supreme source of inspiration for all kinds of devotional service. The statement says, quote, "My dear Radharani, in separation from Krishna, you are now as still as the most beautiful tree, whose gracefulness is not blocked by any covering of leaves. Your tranquil mood makes you appear to be completely merged in Brahman realization." End quote. In this example, there is a mixture of conjugal love and neutral love, but the conjugal love has surpassed everything. Actually, Brahman realization is only a stunted existence. There is the following statement by Krishna himself, quote, "Srimati Radharani has become peace personified for me. Because of her, I now go without sleep. I stare constantly without blinking my eyes, and I am always in a meditative mood. Because of her, I have even made my home in the cave of a mountain." End quote. This is an example of conjugal love mixed with neutral love, but there is no incompatibility. Kandita comments, she was confused because the young girl is trying to forget Krishna. Yes, and Radharani is trying to forget Krishna, but it makes her think about him all the more. The following is a conversation consisting of questions put before Ramba, a celebrated beautiful woman, and her corresponding answers. Ramba was asked, "My dear Ramba, who are you?" She answered, "I am peace personified." Question, "Then why are you in the sky?" Answer, "I am in the sky to experience the supreme absolute truth." Question, "Then why are you staring?" Answer, "Just to look into the supreme beauty of the absolute truth." Question, "Then why do you appear to be disturbed in mind?" Answer, "Because Cupid, capital C, Cupid is acting." In the above example, also, there is no perverted representation of mellows because, on the whole, the ecstasy of conjugal love has exceeded the neutral or shanta position of devotional service. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 60th chapter, 44th verse, Rukmini Devi said, quote, "My dear husband, a woman who has no taste for the transcendental pleasure available from your personal contact must be inclined to accept as her husband somebody who is externally a combination of mustaches, beard, body hairs, fingernails, and some head hair. And within him there are muscles, bones, blood, intestinal worms, stool, mucus, bile, and similar things. Actually, such a husband is only a dead body. But due to not being attracted to your transcendental form, a woman will have to accept this combination of stools and urine for her husband." End quote. This statement, which lists the ingredients of a material body, is not a perverted mellow in transcendental realization because it shows correct discrimination between matter and spirit. Greece has a comment, "Krishna is always teasing Radharani, so of course she wants to forget him." Yes, there's that, but she wants to forget him because she's married, for crying out loud, you know? She's in a compromised position, and so she tries to forget him, but she can't. In the Vidagdha Madhava, 2nd Act, 42nd verse, Krishna tells his friend, quote, "My dear friend, what a wonderful thing it is that since I have seen the beautiful lotus eyes of Srimati Radharani, I have developed a tendency to spit on the moon and the lotus flower." End quote. This is an example of conjugal love mixed with ghastliness, but there is no incompatibility. The following is a statement which describes different mellows of devotional service. Quote, "Although Krishna was invincible to any enemy, the cowherd boys of Vrindavan became almost blackish with astonishment upon seeing his wonderful royal garments and his fighting feats on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. End quote. In this statement, although there is a mixture of chivalrous activities and astonishment in devotional service, there is no perverted reflection of mellows. One resident of Mathura requested her father to bolt the doors and then go with her to the school of Sandapani Muni to find Krishna. She complained that Krishna had completely stolen her mind. In this incident, there is a mixture of conjugal love and parental love, but there is no incompatibility. A Brahmanandi, an impersonalist, expressed his desire as follows, quote, "When shall I be able to see that supreme absolute personality of Godhead, who is eternal bliss and knowledge, and whose chest has become smeared with red kumkum powder by touching the breast of Rukmini?" End quote. Here, there is a mixture of conjugal love and neutrality. Although this is a contradiction of mellows, there is no incompatibility, because even a Brahmanandi, an impersonalist, will become attracted to Krishna. I wanted to say something about the paragraph just before this, about the girl and her father. So the relationship of a child to its parent is dasya. So I just wanted to throw that in there, because there's a lot going on in there. There's the parental love, there's the conjugal love, there's the dasya, the servant. There's lots going on in there. All right, on we go. Nanda Maharaj told his wife, quote, "My dear Yashoda, although your son Krishna is as delicate and soft as the malika flower, he has gone to kill the Keshi demon, who is as strong as the mountain. Therefore I have become a little disturbed. But never mind, all auspiciousness to my son. I shall raise this hand, which is as strong as a pillar, and I shall kill the Keshi demon, just to give freedom from all anxieties to the inhabitants of Braj Mandal." End quote. In this statement, there are two kinds of mellows, chivalry and dread. Both of them, however, improve the position of parental love, and therefore there is no incompatibility. In the Lalita Madhava of Srila Rupa Goswami, it is stated, quote, after Krishna's arrival in Kamsa's arena, Kamsa's priest looked at Krishna with a detestful expression. The entire arena was filled with dread on the part of Kamsa and his priest, and restless expressions of pleasure on the cheeks of Krishna's friends. Frustration was felt by his envious rivals. The great sages meditated. Hot tears were in the eyes of Devaki and other motherly ladies, and hairs stood on the bodies of the expert warriors. There was astonishment in the hearts of demigods such as Indra. The servants danced, and the restless eyes of all the young girls glanced about. End quote. In this statement, there is a description of a combination of different mellows, but there is no incompatibility. A similar statement, which is free from incompatibility, is in the Lalita Madhava, wherein the author blesses all the readers of the book in the following manner. Quote, "Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is able to lift a mountain with a finger of his left hand, he is always humble and meek. He is always very kind to his loving devotees. He has frustrated Indra's attempt at vengeance by refusing him the sacrifice of Indra Yajna. He is the cause of all pleasure to all young girls. May he be ever compassionate upon you all." End quote. All right, final chapter, and I'm going to drink some water before I do that. Hang on. All right, chapter 51. That didn't help. Chapter 51, perverted expression of mellows. Rasabhas, or incompatible mixtures of mellows, can be classified as uparasa, and this is up on the board, false expression, anurasa, imitation, and aparasa, perverted or misrepresented mellows. There is the following statement by an impersonalist who had just seen Krishna, quote, "When a person has passed completely from all contamination of material existence, he reaches a transcendental bliss of being established in trance. But as soon as I saw you, the original personality of Godhead, I experienced the same bliss." End quote. This perverted reflection of mellows is called Shanta Uparasa, or a perverted reflection of mixed impersonalism and personalism. There's another statement as follows, quote, "Wherever I am glancing, I simply see your personality. Therefore I know you are the uncontaminated Brahman effulgence, the supreme cause of all causes. I think there is nothing but you in this cosmic manifestation." End quote. This is another example of uparasa, or a perverted reflection of impersonalism and personalism. When Madhumangala, an intimate friend of Krishna, was dancing before Krishna in a joking manner, no one was paying attention to him, and he jokingly said, "My dear Lord, please be merciful upon me. I am praying for your mercy." End quote. This is an example of uparasa in fraternal affection and neutrality. Kamsa once addressed his sister Devaki as follows, quote, "My dear sister, having seen your dear son Krishna, I think that he is so strong that he can kill even wrestlers strong as the mountains. So I will have no more anxieties about him, even if he is engaged in a terrible fight." End quote. This is an instance of uparasa in a perverted reflection of parental love. In the Lalita Madhava, Srila Rupa Goswami says, quote, "The wives of the Yajnik Brahmins were all young girls, and they were attracted to Krishna in the same way as the gopis of Vrindavan. Out of their attraction, they distributed food to Krishna." End quote. Here the two devotional mellows are conjugal love and parental love, and the result is called uparasa in conjugal love. One of the friends of Srimati Radharani told her, quote, "My dear friend Gandharvika, or Radharani, you were the most chaste girl in our village, but now you have divided yourself and are partially chaste and partially unchaste. It is all due to Cupid's influence upon you, capital C, Cupid's influence upon you, after you saw Krishna and heard the sound of his flute." End quote. This is another example of uparasa caused by divided interests in conjugal love. Greece has a comment. "The gopis love Krishna very much, even when he steals their garments as a prank." Yes, it's true. According to some learned scholars, the feelings between lover and beloved create perverted reflections of mellows in many ways. Quote, "The gopis have become purified by Krishna's glance, and as such, Cupid's influence is distinctly visible on their bodies." End quote. Although in the material sense, the glancing of a boy at a girl is a kind of pollution, when Krishna threw his transcendental glance at the gopis, they became purified. In other words, because Krishna is the absolute truth, any action by him is transcendentally pure. After Krishna chastised the Kaliya Naga, the snake Kaliya, in the Yamuna River by dancing on his heads, the Kaliya Naga's wives addressed Krishna, quote, "My dear cowherd boy, we are all only young wives of the Kaliya Naga, so why do you agitate our minds by sounding your flute?" End quote. Kaliya's wives were flattering Krishna, so that he would spare their husband. Therefore, this is an example of uparasa, or imitation. One devotee said, quote, "My dear Govinda, here is a nice flowery bush on Kailas. I am a young girl and you are a young poetic boy. After this, what more can I say? You just consider." End quote. This is an example of uparasa caused by impudency in conjugal love. When Narada Muni was passing through Vrindavan, he came to the Bandiravana forest and saw in one of the trees the famous parrot couple that always accompanies Lord Krishna. The couple was imitating some discussion they heard upon the Vedanta philosophy, and thus were seemingly arguing upon various philosophical points. Upon seeing this, Narada Muni was struck with wonder, and he began to stare without moving his eyelids. This is an example of anurasa, or imitation. When Krishna was fleeing away from the battlefield, from a distant place Jarasandha was watching him with restless eyes, and was feeling very proud. Being thus puffed up with his conquest, he was repeatedly laughing. This is an example of aparasa. So that's a story of Ranchor Krishna. He has a ulterior motive for running away. And Jarasandha follows him, eventually kills him. Anyway, everything in connection with Krishna is called ecstatic devotional love. Although it may be exhibited in different ways, sometimes in right order and sometimes as a perverted reflection. According to the opinion of all expert devotees, anything that will arouse ecstatic love for Krishna is to be taken as an impetus for transcendental mellow. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta summary study of Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. And there are some concluding words. I'll read those. Srila Rupa Goswami concludes by saying that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is very difficult for ordinary men to understand. Yet he hopes that Lord Krishna, the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead, will be pleased with his presentation of this book. By rough calculation, it is estimated that Srila Rupa Goswami finished Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in Gokula Vrindavan in the year 1552. While physically present, Srila Rupa Goswami was living in different parts of Vrindavan, and his headquarters were in the temple of Radha Damodar in the present city of Vrindavan. The place of Rupa Goswami's bhajan, execution of devotional service, is commemorated still. There are two different tomb-like structures in the Radha Damodar temple. One structure is called his place of bhajan, and in the other his body is entombed. Behind this very tomb this is Srila Prabhupada speaking, I have my place of bhajan, but since 1965 I have been away. The place, however, is being taken care of by my disciples. By Krishna's will, I am now residing at the Los Angeles Temple of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. This purport is finished today, the 30th of June, 1969. And I wanted to read one more thing. At the end of the translation that I have of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu are Jiva Goswami's concluding words on his commentary. So this was written by Rupa Goswami, but Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti both have commentaries included in that. So this is Jiva Goswami's concluding words of his commentary. Sri Krishna, excellent was, and I have this up on a slide there, if you could forward it to the next slide. Sri Krishna, excellent with sweetness and power, complete in every way, cherished by unlimited cowherd girls, moves in expansive Gokula, supporting the splendor of a burden of beauty. He displays sweet qualities among the members of Sri Radha's group. I don't know if I can read this. It's so sweet. He has manifested abundant streams. Somebody else want to read this? Sorry. Kandita, can you turn Kandita's mic on? Bhaktiville.
Okay. Am I on?
Yes. Well. Oh yes, it's on. So
Okay. So, all right, let me.
you can start at the beginning.
Okay. Sri Krishna, excellent with sweetness and power, complete in every way, cherished by unlimited cowherd girls, moves in expansive Gokula. Supporting the splendor of a burden of beauty, he displays sweet qualities among the members of Sri Radha's group. He has manifested abundant streams of cherished great qualities in the ocean of rasa in this book. Wow. Though not very thorough, this commentary, Durgama Sangamani, which is like a boat for crossing the ocean of nectar, should be accepted by the devotees at least sometimes. I wonder, what does that mean? Should be accepted by the devotees at least sometimes?
I think it's just. I think it's just a very humble ending. I think that's all that is. That he's just ending it humbly.
Oh. Okay.
Thank you for reading
that. Exhibiting ecstatic symptoms, huh?
Well, that and my throat is closing up. But yeah,
Okay.
humility. He's exhibiting humility.
I see.
It's just so beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
Comment.
Yes.
So
Very.
anyway, so we're done. We have finished reading Nectar of Devotion. It's been wonderful. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we're thinking to read the prayers of Queen Kunti next.
Jai.
And we're also thinking that we're going to go on vacation for all of August.
Oh, okay.
Bhakti's taking a trip. I'm taking a trip. So we're here and off again. So we'll be back that first week of September after Labor Day. Okay. Oh, just in time for Krishna's birthday, actually. What about next week? Yeah, let's get together next week, and we'll read some of the beginning of the prayers of Queen Kunti, and we'll do that. But again, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.